Creatures of the night, it's your girl Tati. Let's talk about Collision. I know a tape show when I see one. There's just something about the vibe of a show being taped that just feels different from a live show. We started off with our opening match. We had Jackson Perry pulling up to the building like a madman and leaving the scapegoat bus running while he goes in there and take care of business with Christopher Daniels. To be completely honest with you, I didn't really. I mean, I get it. Christopher Daniels is an interim EVP. Got beef with the actual EVPs, the whole elite faction. But something about this felt like we would have been all right without this match. It was okay, but for an opening match, I didn't think it was strong. I want to see bigger, better things for Jackson Perry. I don't know. This is not me pointing fingers at him. This is me telling the company we got to do better. We got to do better. He's a young star, and I felt like this match was definitely. It did no favors for neither one of them, to be completely honest with you. We could have had something else to open the show. Now, as soon as the match was over, Jackson Perry got the fuck on out of there, and the bus was still running. The bus was still running. He got in there and he drove off. He got other things to do. Anna Jay's back in the U.S., so I guess there's other things to do. Now, we did have Wheeler Yuta come to the building, and Lexi went to go stop him to ask him, what's going on with our bruv Brian Danielson. When I tell you, Wheeler Yuta just looked so depressed and sad, and I was just like, oh Lord. And then Lexi bringing it up, I'm pretty sure just made him feel some type of way, like PTSD or some type of shit. He wasn't happy about it. And he's saying that he hasn't heard about anything from the boys and what's going on. And then he was like, oh no, I forgot my boots. When I'm telling you, Willie Yuta look like he's suffering. He's going through something. And I totally understand. He had a match with Anthony Henry a little bit later on. And it kind of felt like his head was just not all in the game. After this, we had the Conglomeration in Hologram. So this was Pastor Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, Hologram versus the Premier Athletes, which was Tony Nese and Arya Davari. And our beastie boy, Beast Mortos, was there. Let me just say, I feel like I've seen this match already. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I've seen this already. And I said this about the Conglomeration. It's something about them that's just kind of feeling like we're seeing the same shit over and over again, and it doesn't really feel too different from the last match that we've seen them in. Something about it, I'm just like, I'm over it. Hologram, baby, I see him doing a couple of, tricks and shit that's just like, okay. I'm starting to like him a little bit more. I wish we could have a little bit more personality, a little something for people like me, people who feel like they gotta be a lot to win me over. We need way more from Hologram to win somebody like me over. Beast Mortos, oh Lord, this guy is just, oh my God, he's so dreamy. And I'll say this. Matt Taven did an update on social media about Beast Mortos and why he's in this match. Because people have been just being like, oh, well, why is Matt Taven in the Hispanic Heritage Month match, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes on to talk about how when he was in Mexico and he got himself into trouble and he got locked up, he saw a card on the floor in the jail and he picked it up and it's somebody in the mask wearing a suit. And he called him up, and it turned out to be Frank Mortos, and he helped him get out of that trouble that happened in Mexico. So they're cool. They're part of the Animal Kingdom, apparently. It was such a cute explanation. That wasn't on the show. That was just Matt Taven posting shit on social media, and I thought that was pretty clever. Whatever the situation is, I'm over it. The Conglomeration always fucking winning. I just want to see something else. Kyle O'Reilly, get to your senses and join the boys. We need you back with the boys. Speaking of the boys, here is Renee Paquette back there with Orange Cassidy, oh Lord. And they were actually showing a clip from when Chris Jericho had a horrible match with Mystico last night at CMLL 91st anniversary. If y'all seen the clips or the match, prayers. Big Bill had got over there and was beating up on Mystico, and then Orange Cassidy came to be Captain Saberho for Mystico after that match. They showed the clip or whatever for people who didn't know. And, like I said, Renee Orange, they back there talking. And then here comes Big Bill, who attacks him with that big ass shoe of his. And Brian Keith is there, and then here comes the learning tree coming. Now he's coming. You don't see him like his face. You see his shoes, them glittery ass pointy shoes. One of my subscribers on the live chat was saying that Chris Jericho was looking like the Wicked Witch of Winnipeg. I was absolutely dead with that comment. Chris Jericho, them shoes, burn them. It's not as cute as you think they are. He comes out there, and they even put a book bag, his book bag, over Orange Cassidy's head. I'm just like, well, you know what? I don't care what y'all do to Orange Cassidy, but didn't y'all seen All Out when they put a plastic bag over Bryan Danielson's head, and we still doing this? Also, another case of possible murder. After this, Mariah May's talking about how she hasn't had her little celebration once again, and all she wants is Mina. And while she's saying all that, pretty much of nothing, here is our girl Yuka Sakazaki, who basically said, "Bitch, I want your belt," and that was it. Next match, Wheeler Yuta versus Anthony Henry. Beef is ringside. They're just being beef. We've actually had Wheeler Yuta versus Anthony Henry recently on Ring of Honor. So these guys, they're no stranger to each other in the ring. Wheeler Yuta obviously just still being distraught. You can see his head is not in the game all the way, but then at some point you do see him being really, really aggressive. He turns up the aggressiveness with Anthony Henry, which he probably was not expecting. And he even almost put his hands on the referee, but he caught himself and he was like, "Oh, well, hold on. I probably should not do that." Wheeler Yuta ends up taking the win via submission. You can really see that aggressive BCC side of him in that match, and I totally get it. Wheeler Yuta even left after that match without the trios title, and that was very interesting that he left without it. Maybe he's just not interested in being part of that team. I would not blame him after that heinous attack on our boy the Dragon. I don't blame him at all. After this, Serena Deeb, oh God, I just don't. Serena Deeb, girl, she's not doing it for me with these promos. She's interrupting Queen Amanada, and just, it's the same promo from like a couple of weeks ago about how showing her how it is to do whatever it is that she does. Man, it doesn't even make sense. I really don't even care. Both these ladies have a match later on in the show, and for me, I'm just like, I don't understand what we're doing with Serena. Serena is just trying to show Queen Amanada how shit get done. And it's just like, well, nobody asked you. So what's the point of this? No clue. Up next, Private Party Commander teaming up in this new little trio that they got going on against John Cruz and friends. Predictable. We knew they was going to end up winning, but something told me, well, the other day they got attacked by Marina and them, so that would have happened again, but it didn't happen. John Moxley didn't come out to attack him. This right here, it was just, and the Commander is doing the Private Party humping the air dance too, which honestly I will never like to see ever again in my life. This was a quick win for them, but I do think that people should also look at Private Party here in this match. You can see that they seem very serious. They mean business. And he ended up going, what's his name? Brother Zay ends up going to the camera basically saying, "We're coming for your asses." And I believe he's talking about Marina and them. I hope that's not who y'all talking about, because if that's the case, the prayer team, y'all gonna have to work overtime for Private Party and Commander. After this, we do have Tony Schiavone and Nigel. They're already on commentary. Nigel is explaining how he's going to end the career of Danielson. And this is interesting because I didn't realize this until tonight, that the title is not on the line. Nigel don't want the damn title. Nigel just wants to whoop his ass. That's what that's about. While Nigel is talking about his little beef with Danielson, they're showing clips from their matches and the whole story between the two of them. And I thought that was done really, really nicely. They could have did a little bit of background music along with Nigel narrating this whole thing. But I thought it was really done nicely. what was, like I said, what was interesting is that the title was not on the line, and for it to be on Grand Slam, nobody's feeling that shit. Like we want that shit on Wrestle Dream or some pay-per-view, and they've put in bold letters for everybody to know if Bryan Danielson shows up at Grand Slam. So if he doesn't show up, then there's no match. If he doesn't want to do it, then he's not going to do it. We'll end up seeing what happened with that. They do end up showing, I think on social media, that they have the whole Danielson and Nigel saga for anyone who wants to watch on the Honor Club. And that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm going to be watching that. Now, after this, Serena Deeb, Yuka Sakazaki. Serena reboard, but she's amazing in the ring. She's an amazing wrestler. Yuka, she had been gone for months. The last match I remember her having was with Emi Sakura. She was struggling like towards the end of that match, moving around with her leg, and it turned out she broke her leg during that match. So she's back now. She's going against Serena Deeb. Mariah May is on commentary while these girls go at it. And surprise, surprise, Yuka took the win. And I was just like, oh, I thought we were going to be doing something with Mariah May. But it also gets me thinking, like, every time you see the girls come from Japan, they are always straight into some kind of title picture. And I'm just like, this is fitting. They keep doing this with the girls from Japan, which is interesting. Yuka is, though, on the AEW roster. Very surprising that she took the win for me, though. Now, and while she's making her way to the back, Mariah ends up attacking her from behind. She almost falls off the damn stage, and they get into it. But Mariah is flat on her back while Yuka is holding the AEW Women's title. Girl, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Gonna be an interesting match, probably. Now, after this interesting development, we have Action Andretti, Top Flight, Leo Rush, Layla Gray. They back there in the parking lot. And Action Andretti, he lost that match with Takeshita from Rampage, but that was a really great match, by the way. He's really upset. He's really upset that they've been taking L's. They lost the Casino Gauntlet thing for the tag teams and all this stuff. They've been taking L's with the singles matches. I totally understand where he's coming from with that. And then he goes, I don't know why we're not taking W's. I don't know why we're not being more serious. We are a really great group of individuals, and even as a team, why are we not taking more W's? Why aren't we being more successful? We have so much potential. Now, Action Andretti, I now told y'all this. I said, I've been worried about Top Flight and them because they're so talented. And unfortunately, they don't get used the way I feel like they should be used. And what's going to happen is they're going to sit there and eat up all the food and catering. And they're going to be too big to be doing all them flips and shit. And here comes Dante Martin eating a big-ass burger with grease stains all over his shirt. And I was just like, Lord have mercy, it's happening already. And then Action Andretti doing the Lord's work by taking that sandwich and throwing that shit up in the air. I am so grateful for that. Action Andretti, thank you. Thank you. But he seems to be really, really upset. And when he throws it, it's near one of the production trucks where they have the wrestlers on the trucks, and they see Brody King, and he's like, you know what, we should be going against people like the House of Black and whooping their asses. And to be honest, that's true. They probably should. Whooping their asses, I don't know about that. But he's right. They have a lot of potential. These guys should have been won tag titles, been won trios titles, even individual titles for some of them, and for whatever reason it just has not happened for this group for as long as they've been there. So we're gonna have to work on this. And he was really, really upset and even end up storming off away from the group, but they all end up chasing him so they could calm his ass down. We'll see what ends up happening with that. After this, trios, we had Bang Bang Gang versus the Cage of Agony, Bishop Khan. Lord have mercy, Lord. Okay, what can I say about this that we haven't seen before? What can I say about this we haven't seen before? Bang Bang Gang took the win, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. But what I will say this, that I do feel like these past couple of weeks, we've been seeing them display more tag teams and trios. And that is making me feel like hopefully we're going to do something with these tag teams and trios. Right, Tony Khan? It's great to see them. We see that they are trios. We see that there are tag teams. But we don't necessarily get a chance to see them putting these guys in where they belong in terms of these divisions. There's almost, it feels like the tag division is non-existent, and it kind of feels like the trios, man, don't even get me started on trios. Now, I do want to say this. There was a video of Stokely Hathaway. At first, I wasn't sure if it was him. I had to watch it back. Stokely Hathaway, he's wearing a suit, and he's in this room. And in the room, there's a TV, and there's DVDs, and he's going to watch all whatever DVDs was on the table. Now, if you play it back, the DVDs have names of tag team matches that were in AEW. And the one that he ends up taking to play was the Young Bucks versus Darby Allin and Sting. Why? I have no motherfucking clue. That was interesting because we saw a lot of other DVDs. We saw the Briscoes, all the Briscoes and FTR matches were there. A whole bunch of other tag team matches were there, but for that reason, I don't know what it was. But when he puts in the DVD for Young Bucks versus Darby and Sting, they kind of zoomed in on it so you can see which one he picked. Now, this is relevant to know because remember on Wednesday during the tag team gauntlet match, Stokely Hathaway was watching in the crowd, and we all was just like, why is he watching the match? Now we know that it looks like he's recruiting to manage a team. That's going to be interesting. I don't know which team it would end up being, but I think that's very interesting. After this, Serena D back there talking about how she's just taking L's after L's. And then Queen Aminata, she walks by and she goes, so that's how you get it done? And then she ends up walking past her and making it out to the ring. She has a match with Robin Renegade. Pretty great. I'm glad to see, Robin getting her TV time. Matter of fact, Ohio, I believe, is her home state. So that's interesting. Let's be honest. We already knew what was going to happen here. Queen Aminata ends up taking the win. Y'all not missing anything, but she is doing this thing where when she's about to win, she's going for a pin. She kind of put her her lady parts in her opponent's face, and I'm just like, well, there's nothing to complain about here, but this is interesting. Good shot for the camera. Oh yes, and then Robin gives her DDT during that match. And when I tell you that thing looks so nasty, even Nigel was fucking screaming on commentary, okay? It did not look good. And like I said, because they taped the show, and because it was taped, they were able to air that spot, but from a different angle where you wouldn't see how Queen Aminata landed on her head. Queen, I hope you're alright. After the match, we had Serena Deeb come out and attacking Queen Aminata. And yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with that between those two girls. I don't think they've announced that they were going to have a match, but if they do, I can see them doing that for Grand Slam. We'll see. Main event time, tag team action. We do have FTR versus the Grizzle Young Veterans. We had 20 minutes left, and that's what I like. That's giving us a vintage collision when we have the lengthy main events. That's how pro wrestling's supposed to be. Main events are supposed to be lengthy, okay? Not no 10 minutes or whenever the show is over. It has to be lengthy for main events. It had to be a big deal. I don't feel like it was too much of a big deal coming into this. Yeah, the Grizzle Young Veterans and FTR had a little run-ins with each other the past, 2-3 shows. But it didn't feel like so much of a big deal to me here. These teams are so going back and forth with each other, and I'm looking at this and I'm just like, oh, okay. The chemistry was there. We had a couple of hiccups. I'm not even gonna lie. A couple of hiccups where I was just like, oh no, let's get it together, boys. Now, the grizzled young veterans, obviously heels in this situation, they're getting booed, and they're doing what heels do, especially when the referee is just somehow too distracted to be doing their damn motherfucking jobs. And they're getting the crowd worked up. And this is FTR we're talking about. They're like the John Cena's of tag team wrestling. And personally, I wanted to see the Grizzle Young Veterans take the win. And God had other plans, apparently. And FTR took the win. And I was just like, I don't understand. Why was that necessary? Grizzle Young Veterans was really upset about them losing. So they end up attacking FTR. And then boom. Who comes out to save FTR? the Outrunners. When the Outrunners came out, I'm gonna tell you, man, everybody named Mama was screaming for Outrunners, and I'm just like, holy shit, these guys are over as fuck. I like this. I absolutely enjoyed seeing them getting received like that from the crowd. The crowd, Tony Khan, they know what they want. They want the Outrunners. They came out to help FTR. And at the end of it, they went to shake their hands, but it seemed like FTR was snubbing them, but they really weren't. They were just joking. Then they turn around and they go and give them that big, powerful handshake that they be doing, and then they're flexing and posing for the camera as the camera, goes off, and there's the end of Collision. Interesting to see how popular the Outrunners have gotten when I've been telling y'all about the Outrunners forever. And I'm glad to see them getting recognized by the fans and other wrestlers. These guys, they're really talented. They're really entertaining. I want to see more of them on the shows. This episode, I felt like you can skip it. I'm not going to lie. I feel like you can skip it. It wasn't bad, but it was nothing exciting. I don't feel like anything truly happened here where it's like if you missed it, you at a loss or anything. I do think it's important to think about the whole thing with Top Flight, because it almost seemed like Action Andretti just didn't give a fuck about being in the group for a second. Stoltly looking to recruit a tag team under his belt. I think that's interesting to take a look at as well. Everything else, other than the Mariah May and Yuka thing happening, I don't know who wants that match, but that's what they're giving us. And then, Serena Deeb and Queen Aminata is going to be coming at some point. Everything else, if you missed it, you missed it. You're not at a loss. But go ahead and check it out. All the clips are on YouTube for the most part, the matches. And, I don't know. These tape shows, sometimes I feel like it's just the vibe of the show is not the best. I think we had a better time just chilling on the live stream with everybody talking about music and movies and things like that. I think that was more entertaining than the actual episode of Collision. But we do have Dynamite on Wednesday. Let's see what they're going to do with that. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I will be back on Wednesday with a review on Dynamite. See you guys then. Bye.